Just for the lulz, I wouldn't mind Braxis, but that's banned out.
We're getting Towers of
I'm
Doom.
okay with towers too.
Close enough.
To be honest, now thinking about it, I want to see Dragonshire again. I always enjoy Dragonshire. Dragonshire and Cursed Hollow are two of the maps where I think we get a lot of good fights.
Yeah.
A lot of good rotation games going on, so.
I feel like Dragonshire brings that brawly element to Heroes of the Storm that we don't get as much on a lot of Battlegrounds because you're forced to be separated due to the control of the shrines.
Yeah.
And so you might not have as many high-impact kills, but a kill or two changes the entire flow of the game. And that's what's so exciting about Dragonshire. If you mess up one shot call or don't call out someone missing and they get picked on the top lane, suddenly you're in frantic mode, which is kind of cool to see.
Also, Cursed Hollow, always a favorite. What's better than one throw pit? Two throw pits.
Double the throw pits, double the fun. So we're moving to Towers of Doom here, which we should be seeing a lot of poke coming in for our teams. This is actually a battleground where I want to see Chromie played on the opposing side. I want Mane to pull out his Chromie. It's been a while since we've seen it.
Yeah, you're actually
It's
right.
been a long time.
I mean, I really liked him on Gul'dan there again, having a pretty big impact. The one death that we saw where there was the one moment where Trick really coordinated. It was the only kill in the entire game on their side when they were able to set up with the Blessed Shield and then the Hanzo arrow followed up into it. So it was a cool combo on their part where they could take Gul'dan out. But yeah, seeing him on a mage again would definitely be fun, and I feel this has been more and more in his role that they are trying to put him on mages. We've seen Kel'Thas, we've seen Li Ming, a lot of Jaina actually recently.
Forgot about Kel'Thas. Man, he's the only one it feels like it's willing to pull out that Kel'Thas, but boy, when he plays it, I think he inspires a lot of us to pick up the Kel'Thas, and then we go home and find out that Convection isn't the way to win video games, and then we get blown up. But
What do you mean you go home? He doesn't play Convection.
I know, but I go home and I'm like, I'm not going Mana Addict. Who goes Mana Addict? Then you go Convection. I mean,
Wait.
Udall says it's where it's at.
Whoa. You play Convection?
I haven't played Kel'Thas in forever, but I would play Convection. And then I would rage about it when I lose.
Get out.
I don't know, man. Mike Udall told me it's okay.
Get out.
Mana Addict is the way to go on Kel'Thas, and you'll see it from Mane whenever he does play the hero. If he were to pull it out today, it's possible. Most likely, you'll see it on Battlegrounds like Tuma Spider Queen, maybe on Braxis Holdout. That's where we'll get that Kel'Thas from Fnatic.
Shrines.
Infernal Shrines, yeah, exactly.
I mean, they played 7 games with Kel'Thas, and they won 5 of them, though. So it's actually also Mane's original hero.
Yeah.
When he started with Heroes of the Storm, it's where he made himself a name as the mage player in Europe because his Kel'Thas player was just absolutely insane. And that was, of course, ages ago. That was at a time... What was that insane talent called at 7?
Ignite?
Yeah, exactly. Ignite. Oh my god. Yeah, Kel'Thas had some very interesting talents. He was.
Hey, you're bringing me back, man.
He wasn't OP at all.
VP into a Flame Strike. Immediate blow up on Living Bombs. That was a time, dude. That was definitely a time. Well, let's go into this time here. As Strict Esports brings up the ban, and they'll be hovering the Maiev. Yesterday, they banned Maiev multiple times. They did dabble in the Stukov and the Garrosh, but it looks like Maiev seems to be their favorite today as they look to possibly ban it out a second time.
Mm-hmm. Not 100% sure what I think about the... It's actually tricky. Fnatic has played Maiev, and they mainly played Meno and Maiev. We've seen at the Western Clash, we've also seen in the league. He was pretty impactful on the hero. They had some good combos with it, but they switched it over to Stukov. Personally, I think that's a good choice. I mean, Fnatic can play Maiev, and there's definitely no guarantee that they're not gonna pick her, but I feel overall with the way that Stukov is being played right now, what kind of impact he has on compositions and as a counter, I would be more worried about him. So
that and how Maev's kind of fallen off a lot in Europe,
too. I think he just has... Like, Maiev for me has always that bit of a factor when she falls off, you know that she has less priority, she doesn't make it in some drafts at all, sometimes she's banned on second rotation, on the first pick, but then every now and then you see that pick and she destroys. You're like, oh yeah, I remind myself now, okay, why we banned her in the first place. But if you compare that to Stukov, which just always gains that value with the silence alone, the lurking arm that he provides, and I mean that's only a small part of his entire set, but he's just such a great hero. But now Tricked, of course, should also follow that up with Malfurion first pick.
But this hesitance has me wondering if they're thinking, do we switch it up instead? Is there someone else that would jump out for them that they would prefer to pick up?
I mean, normally the mindset is... Okay, there we go.
Say, it has to be the mouth, right?
Yeah, the mindset is usually if you are on the first ban position, you are trying to get Malfurion, you ban Stukov out, and now Fnatic opens with an immediate Medivh Diablo composition. That reminds me of something. Didn't we see that yesterday?
We've seen Medivh Diablo.
No, exactly that opening.
Yeah.
Yeah, Medivh Diablo, and that was what Team Liquid played against Trick Esports. So at that point, it was also with Stukov, Gul'dan, and Leoric. So Stukov at least is not part of that composition. But for Trick, this should already ring alarm bells.
And now I wonder what they're going to pick up here to A, control portals. They already have Malfurion, which is a good tool itself. And then also B, how do they stop the wombo combo from coming out? Johanna's been one that's picked in the past that's helpful for that, and we've been seeing more Johanna in the rotations and picked up, especially with Garrosh being banned out. Wouldn't be a bad pickup here. But also that Junkrat factor. But as you mentioned, we don't see a lot of Junkrat from Trick Esports, so I'm a little bit worried about what else they want to move into to try and stop Medivh from being able to force a fight on their terms.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm actually not convinced they're going to pick the hero at all here. So now we're going to see a Tracer composition. They already have Malfurion, so they can play Tracer. And we have Sonya. It's actually a really solid setup that they're already running here. I don't dislike it at all. It's just every single time you see the setup with Diablo and Medivh, alarm bells go off all over the place.
Yeah.
So that's one of those moments where you're like, okay, let's see what else they can draft here. Because we could see another Gul'dan play, for example.
The other thing, too, to worry about is while Tracer's been a powerhouse in Europe for a while, Medivh is one of those heroes that when they're picked up first, you kind of doubt, do I want to go into the Tracer? Being able to have that force of will to stop the pulse bombs is a really important tool here for Fnatic to have, and they're able to make sure that they deal with that Tracer. Now, with that being said, Tracer is able to chase someone down at force of will if misplaced and get that kill, so you always have that threat, and that's why you have that trade-off of, okay, I'm willing to pick it up, even though they have the ability to stop me from blowing up a target.
For me, the question is, what does Fnatic ban? Is it going to be Malthael because you're worried about Diablo, him getting chanked down by Alex because of actually, sorry, my bad. Sonya's already being picked on their side. So you could pick Frontliner.
It's going to be the Hanzo. Staying away from the Dragon Arrow snipes. And now Tricked. What do you ban? Gul'dan, they're hovering it.
I would also ban Gul'dan if I was them. First of all, I mean, again, they ran against more or less the same setup yesterday. And if the combo hits, of course, you still need damage. And nothing provides better damage in this setup than having a Gul'dan that just goes in and drops the perfect Ruinous Affliction, Echoed Corruption combo off there, boom, and all of a sudden it's just toast.
And with Medivh and Diablo, you're wanting to have a wave clear, and with them being a mage, Gul'dan fits that role.
And you have Mena on your setup, so, I mean, everything just screams ban Gul'dan.
Yeah. There are other options for Trick to ban out as well if they would not want to go for that Gul'dan. We've seen Jaina from Mena in the past. Kael'thas as well. Jaina's great with Diablo Medivh, being able to follow up with that Ring of Frost. Kael'thas, a natural fit too with the Living Bombs. So we could see one of those. There are actually 3 mages available for Fnatic to pick up here that would fit.
I would love Gul'dan.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love him. But yeah, having another mage here would be... I guess you could also go for Li Ming just simply because you get the resets in. So if you use the combo to get 1 kill, you could then follow it up with another. But yeah, I mean, with the setup that we're seeing right now, Gul'dan would definitely be a very good option for them. Outside of that, still need a support for Smexy. Again, as you can go into Rhaegar with Tracer on the board. You can also consider Karazim, which has not really been played in quite some time.
We get the Junkrat from them, though.
Okay.
Fnatic with their Junkrat. Are we going to get our support here? Will we see that oddball support come out for Fnatic with Stukov being out, or are they going to go for the easy Uther, which is another layer of protection for Fnatic? They're going to pick up the Rhaegar.
Yeah, I mean, I would go Rhaegar, or if you really want to chase Tracer, maybe Karazim, but then again, Karazim hasn't played a role in a lot of games. Mostly when we're seeing it from Fnatic, it's a double support setup that they sometimes run on Battlefield of Eternity, where they actually put Quacknix on Karazim as more of a damage dealer trying to chase Tracer down and then have a bit of a healing effect on the team as well.
I like Rhaegar because of the map with the sappers, of course, and you want to be able to have that Merc available. I just like Uther against Sonya, one, because you have that stun that's later on, helpful to stop with those Whirlwinds, make sure she can't be so aggressive. You have Divine Shield if you need it for that Pulse Bomb that comes out, and you also have that Holy Shock build, but Rhaegar definitely, of course, works here for the reasons that you've mentioned. Looking over at Trick Esports, you're going to need that front line. What front line do you think comes out for them? And also, what extra damage will they get? Because they only have Tracer so far.
I mean, with the Frontline, they're really looking a lot at Johanna
Yeah.
in the last few days.
Johanna definitely a strength here. And then, of course, we're looking for a Crosby hero. Tracer usually playing by Make. Here's Murden. And then Tychus to help out with the Diablo.
All right. Murden, Tychus to chunk down Diablo a bit. With Medivh around Diablo, sure, Breeze should have a pretty good time here. But the outside of that setup, who's going to be the solo laner for them?
For Fnatic. I mean, Blaze is up. Bad Bane's been running a lot in the past. Can also...
Leo still up as well.
Yeah.
Still great for the map too. Was also in the setup of Team Liquid when they played the composition yesterday against Trick. But that was a further Shrines.
Helpful against locking down Tychus too. And it's something that they're willing to sacrifice, but they can also double soak too when they go to control that bottom lane. And they can also rotate around quickly with that Medivh. Anything odd in terms of picking come out that we've seen in the past? We did have one Illidan game, if I remember correctly, for Fnatic. But I don't think Illidan's going to be coming in the mix here. Trade's really poorly into Sonya. Murden shuts him down. It would be a pretty poor pick to pick up the Illidan.
I mean, one of the things that you could consider, but I also doubt that would be happening here, is the Haka. Zeratul coming in. All right. Bit more of an aggressive last pick than I expected them to go for.
This is the third time that we've seen a Zeratul into a Sonya pick. It seems like a lot of EU teams are saying, all right, well, you can outmaneuver the Sonya. You cleave decently because you have the greater cleave build, and you become more effective in the team fight later on. You're able to section off team fights, and it also helps out with the wombo combo that we're trying to set up. Seems like Zeratul is starting to become more of an option that I need to consider.
This is actually a pretty devastating wombo combo. It also could mean that Medivh is not going for ley line here.
Polybomb.
So we actually could see Polybomb with the setup that they're running just simply because they open it up with the Zeratul Void Prison. So there are a couple of ways how they can play this around the heroic abilities depending on what each hero takes. But wombo combo potential is still going to be there for sure.
They have a lot of setup. They have a lot of strength here. Looking at the compositions, I'm looking over at Fnatic, and I like what they have. But you look over at Trick Esports, and this is actually a good standard composition. Like, if you were to go into a draft in any Hero League match with this type of composition, you'd be in a good spot to get a victory.
Yeah, I just have to admit, Trick has to convince me. I really want them to do well because they are a team that's very easy to cheer for since they are a very enthusiastic bunch. But at the same time, if we look at the previous matches they played, those were matches where they disappointed from what we expected from them. Not necessarily that they lost, but the way how they lost. So they really need to step it up and improve quite a bit. And that's something where they have to prove, okay, we can actually pull this off with the setup that we have.
Enthusiasm can only take you so far. Trick Esports on the left, Crosby playing Tychus, Make on Tracer, Rimmer on Murden, Grandpa Kit playing Malfurion, and Alex Aproji back on Sonya.
And to the right side, we have Fnatic with Breeze on Diablo, Quatnix on Medivh, Mena on the Rat, Smexy on Rhaegar, and Bad Benny on Zeratul.
We'll be watching that Bad Benny, seeing how he plays at Zeratul. Typically the 1 through 7, you're a little bit passive. You're just trying to clear out that wave, waiting for your wormhole to come online, at which point you start to become really annoying. Why are you giggling?
Because that dumb rat is laughing again.
Junkrat and Lunara have the most annoying laughs in Heroes of the Storm, I think. Junkrat, at least you can, like, smirk at.
That's different. Lunara is actually annoying. Junkrat is funny.
He's a smirky, kind of funny annoying.
Junkrat is proper funny.
And Lunara puts pure terror into your heart whenever she's laughing.
The thing is that you can imagine Junkrat's funny the same way Snitch's funny.
Okay.
He's just like that cheeky, sassy guy that's like running around and throwing grenades.
Suddenly, I can now see Snitch as the Joker from Batman and Robin. Oh my god. He could totally be the Joker.
Welcome to the party, my friend.
Is that why his hair was green a year ago? Was that a Halloween trick that he just played on everyone for like 4 months?
And no.
My mind is blown! Breeze trying to blow the mind of Tracer, though. Goes in for a combo. There's that force of will we're talking about. Crosby taking a bit of a harassment, and Fnatic is able to walk away, but back to Snitch. He's the Joker!
Next time in the interview, is going to come in, let me tell you, I got these scars.
Why he's so serious?
You want to see a magic trick? I can make this Uther disappear.
Oh my gosh.
I think I just broke Tim.
My brain is actually broken right now, dude.
Oh.
You have to commentate, be a professional, because I can't. Oh my god.
All right, let me take this over. So for now, actually, we just have the we just have the expected setup with Zeratul and
What is
Sonya.
a magic trick? Oh man, Tricked doing their best to push in here, grabbing the sappers and looking for that level 4. Pretty typical early game. Diablo being a bit aggressive, but Fnatic controlling up pretty well. Tricked Esports, however, starting to open up this bottom lane a little bit and get a little bit of harassment on those turrets.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Caldor, still falling apart, man.
It's getting better, but I still have these occasional coughs, and it's quite annoying. I'm
That's your fault,
I'm
though.
really sorry, guys. I hope you don't hear it when I mute myself through Tim's microphone, but it's been annoying me as well, and I hope it's not too bad for the people listening right now.
We all care about your well-being. We do. All
But
right,
yeah.
so, Oxbow grabbing this top lane here, working on the sappers. We're going to have 3 altars activating in about 20 seconds. But a big aggressive play coming in from Bad Bunny and crew, but they realize, all right, Tricked Esports is set up well. They had 2 hiding in the bush, willing to contest if Alex were to lose those sappers, and they dissuade from Fnatic from fully engaging.
Yeah, and then let's just sum up what happened so far. I mean, we're bantering around a bit in the early game, but as you could see in the minimap, the main thing that really happened is that Sonya and Zeratul were soaking in the mid and the top, and we had a bit of a 4 versus 4 skirmish happening mainly around the bottom of the map. Nothing really too much coming of it, no kill yet, and with the first phase, it actually looks more and more as if Fnatic just simply gives the bottom altar up and take a 2-for-1 trade. They try to interrupt a little bit around Mena's Junkrat with the grenades, but they don't get the angle to interrupt it longer, and with Medivh still hovering in the mid lane. That wasn't a real play on their part to actually try and get this one. So they're saying, hey, we scale good into the late game, especially around Zeratul. We can do a lot more there. So we're gonna be willing to give some up in the early game, and then later on we're gonna make our play. They got the top right, that's enough for them at this point, and they simply try to get a bit farther ahead in experience. Sonya, on the other hand, at the top is all of a sudden in quite a bit of trouble. Alex needs to be careful here, but the rotation of Tricked is ready. They follow up and make sure that Alex is not going down, and Fnatic realizes it, and at that point just moves out, because that would have been a very disadvantageous battle for them if they would have stayed there.
Yeah, I really like how Tricked is willing to chase the map right now. They're even falling behind a little bit in experience, but they know they have the stronger team fight 1 through 9 for that 10 hits, that wombo combo comes online, so they are forcing their hand and trying to find fights. Fnatic, however, doing a really good job of escaping away from these engagements. That portal really coming in handy, and now with that wormhole coming online, Fnatic will be able to be a little bit more aggressive in these fights if they want to. But it's all about getting towards that level 10, especially before this next altar phase, which will have 2 spawning. 1 at the bottom and 1 in the middle here. Tricked Esports, a little bit behind experience, but again, that's because they were willing to fight as a 4-man and trying to force these fights.
Yeah, now the altars are activating again, and double at this point. Cross in a bit of trouble. Keep in mind what kind of impact Breeze had in most of his games as Diablo yet. Definitely, in my opinion, the best Diablo in the world at this point, and he's been showing it several times, especially, of course, the games played at the West End Clash come to mind. But right now, this is another setup where Breeze later on can just absolutely destroy any frontline. And Tracer also should be really careful where exactly she moves in these setups, because Breeze is going to be waiting for a stun into the wall.
That he is. Quack sitting down on a portal. They're going to try and delay this top side while Rhaegar begins to channel. Can they stop Make from grabbing said altar? There is a Zeratul that's nearby, but it looks like Fnatic decides, okay, we're content with grabbing this one-on-one in terms of trades. They'll get 4 shots, but so will Tricked Esports, 32-28 in favor of Tricked. And by the time we move to the next altar, that level 10 will be online, and that's where we're going to see Fnatic spike up. Will Tricked Esports be able to stop that full engage?
And also keep another thing in mind. Breeze wants to stack up more on his souls. So he's currently sitting at 63. He wants to make sure there's a few more before he actually engages into any big and meaningful team fights, if possible. So that's another reason why they're absolutely willing to wait this out a little bit more. Also helps Quacknix taking his own quest. He's currently sitting at 13. Needs to make sure that he doesn't fall there, with a couple of Medivhs having huge trouble with this, actually. But yeah, right now also with the lack of fights that we had, Remaballer had actually a really poor stacking game so far. He only sits at 5 stacks on a Stormbolt quest, which is of course for a Meridian player pretty disappointing. Grand Paquette finds himself a bit alone at this point. Needs to be careful, especially since Breeze is sharking around from the side. Goes for Alex instead, and goes for the body block, so at least tries to. Bad Bunny needs to move out here, but Alex is still in trouble, and that should be a kill against him.
And Void Press is on the back line as Make tries to go in and get the kill on Bad Bunny. Crosby trying himself to get that overkill, but Bad Bunny is able to blink over the wall Breeze gets knocked into the top. And this is actually a 3v5.
Look at the bot lane.
Yes, exactly. I was talking about Trick chasing the kills a little bit earlier there and saying how I actually enjoyed that play because they had a better 1 through 10. The problem is they're chasing a little bit too much, and the last minute has had Fnatic pushing in the bottom with Mene and Smexy breaking down that fort.
You have it with names this weekend.
Yeah, I'm just killing it. Kid Smexy, just killing it. They got that fort down to half health, so now that bell tower, if Trick Esports were to lose another fight and a Sapper Camp is grabbed, is easily going down.
Yeah, Breeze in the middle of things here, but here comes the Reptile, pushing Alex back right away. Marcus already a bit low as Breeze is darting through the portal. Odin popped on the other hand and trying to throw them back slightly. Zeratul is starting to make his way in. Apocalypse is already used. Market gets cleansed, but the fight is still going on as Alex is already half down in HP. He's still being chased, so is Drema. Everybody on the side of Trick Esports is starting to just blow up in HP, but Breeze goes down.
He goes down. Malfurion also taken out. Zeratul gone
No,
for 20
my
seconds.
bad. Zeratul goes down. Breeze still survives, sorry.
Zeratul and Malfurion both picked off in that fight, and Fnatic are able to grab the altars, which I was actually a little bit worried about with VP being down from that exchange early on the top lane. I thought Fnatic may have to give up this altar, but that ley line into APOC combo set them up to move and engage. Good cleanse, as you mentioned, or from Nature's Cure from Malfurion to make sure that the Tracer didn't get locked down too hard there. But Fnatic able to find the kills anyways. And now it's all about grabbing these sappers. Trick Esports grabs theirs. Fnatic working on the bottom right. And remember, they still have that bell tower that's still taking damage.
If Malfurion's Nature's Claw wouldn't have cleansed the stun off against on Tracer in particular, Marke would have been died for sure. Yeah, like he had no chance there. It was really rough spot for him to be in. He was completely exposed and got hit by it hard. So that was actually an important one. Yeah, there, once again, a little bit of pressure at the bot lane. But Fnatic still looking at those 2 kills against 1, and they're starting to play way more aggressive now than they did in the previous engagements. Just simply because they have the level 10s. They have Breeze also at that frontline position where they really want him. He's being a lot more aggressive in these fights, jumping in deep, and Quacknix has those portals ready for him when he wants to get out. The entire rotation game has already been on point, and I really like that. We've been talking a lot about how Trick is starting to rotate with 5 mans onto the lane because they're trying to get a kill, and they nearly got the one early against Zeratul at the top lane. But the problem is it really comes at a cost, and that's what we still see being active down here at the bottom. That keep is so low, that bell tower, that eventually Fnatic is going to move in and claim it.
Yeah, and Zeratul amplifies that cost. Trick Esports, as you mentioned, knows that bell tower is eventually going to go down, so they're setting up defense as heavily as they can here in the bottom lane. They put Murden and Sonya in the other lanes, but Zeratul is in a spot where now suddenly he's on that 2-on-1. Diablo goes in for an engage. Gonna have the Force of Will come out, and the Pulse Bomb will connect the Force of Will a bit too early. That was a 4v3 that Fnatic was attempting to take underneath the tower, and Crosby and crew were actually able to dish out a decent amount of damage.
Yeah, that setup did not 100% work for them. It was also Malfurion, of course, setting those roots under the ground right away. Leyline already being used. Here comes the APOC, but it doesn't really hit anything. Only Marke in the background, and that's not really a big problem for him. Shielded by all of his allies, Crosby was able to dash out, but Smexy is now in a position where he could complete the channel, and indeed he will. Void Prison comes out, everybody trapped, and they're trying to follow up on it.
Here comes the Rip Tower, and boom, it goes off. Maka and Grandpa Kit taking damage. Crosby able to stutter step barely out of way, but here comes a portal. Crosby locked down by his as well here, trying to stay alive. Eventually does get cleaned up. Rimmer comes on the side and goes for a Stormbolt. Bad Benny's low on health, but there's the Ancestral, and Fnatic is able to break down this fort.
And Benny getting the kill together with Quacknix, just dashing in between portals, using his blink as well. And Tyke is just sitting there and doesn't even know what to attack first and where he's being attacked from. Nice Twilight Dream from Grand Paquette though, as he's trying to use the counter engage here. He himself already low, barely moving away. But Benny is also about to fall here. Murden with a final hit against Zeratul. And now the Junkrat grenades just dropping everybody's HP on Trick Esports side and forcing them to retreat as the bell tower to the bot lane has been claimed by Fnatic.
But the bell tower on the top right was taken out by those sappers earlier by Alex, so they have actually offset the map. A nice split down the medium there, a diagonal fashion. Fnatic scouts out that the sappers are being grabbed by Trick Esports' bottom left. Won't be able to do too much about it. Their main goal, though, is to protect this bottom lane. Let's see if they can clear up some of these sappers as Trick Esports is looking to take back the map.
And Trick is actually reclaiming that bell tower really quickly. I don't know, when it comes to the infrastructure on the map, Trick is doing really well. And every time we see a team fight, I feel Fnatic is looking strong and more aggressive and closer to getting additional kills. But Drift is really doing well in every single aspect here. Slightly behind Fnatic, but still playing a strong game. And now they are all of a sudden ahead in bell towers. They might be behind in shots, but we have now triple altar phase. And with 5 against 3 bell towers, that's a big problem for Fnatic.
Well, Fnatic was looking to grab 2 altars during this phase. Zeratul, up to the top right, was working on taking the bell tower away, but because of Trick Esports and their aggression, they weren't able to contest him. So 3 shots do go down. Should be going in favor of Fnatic if they're able to grab both the altars. They go in for another combo on Rimmer, who turns around and drops a storm ball on Smexy.
Yeah, Smexy with the healing totem on the ground here. Alex is also starting to go in, and immediately we are seeing Rhaegar moving back. Bot lane is also being pushed now by the camp that has been taken by Fnatic earlier, but if they give this one up, that's another 5 shots fired. And Fnatic, I mean, they can afford to do that, but that's not really something you want to give up. 23 against 22 right now on core HP. Once again, Breeze moves in. Portal should be there any second for him to allow him to retreat, and that's exactly what happens.
Gets out nicely there. Even minigun being popped. Crosby gonna use the Yodin. Medivh taking a bit of a beating there. Pulse bomb comes out, connects. Quacknix is low on health. Can he escape? Nope. Alex slams down the damage and takes out Medivh. Rimmer also taking a bit of a here on the bottom right, but should be able to pop his avatar. There it is. Here's the VP. Will we have the engage from Fnatic? No. This is a disengaged VP. They want to skedaddle away.
Yeah, they have taken the bottom bell tower, so now it's 4 shots against 4, so they at least took one possible hit away from their core, because the altar is still in play. But you're absolutely right. After the VP, we could actually have seen them try and use Apocalypse and re-engage there. And that didn't happen because they don't have Medivh right now. And they said without him, they don't really want to risk it. So Drift is doing well. They are starting to take the lead in HP now. And they also, in kills, have caught up. 3 against 3. The level 16 talent is in their hands as well. Fnatic still needs to get a few more experience points, maybe 2-3 waves. And then they will have their own level 16 talent. And that is, of course, gonna power spike them pretty heavily, especially Breeze can then start to really make the plays happen.
Diablo and Zeratul both at 16.
Yeah.
Become quite the terror. Fnatic setting up for defense as there was 5 pushing in bottom lane.
To be fair, Diablo already is. He is the Lord of Terror, so he has that.
Oh, that's a good point, Caldor. I shouldn't have
like
said something so bold.
Zeratul might be pretty cool, but he's still a Protoss, so that's...
He's not very terrifying.
Yeah.
He's a nice Protoss. Alarak, on the other hand,
there's no such thing.
Is a terrifying Protoss. Alex Aproji takes the Sappers. I'm actually getting a little worried here for Fnatic. I know they're taking this bell tower back in the top right corner, but Trick is starting to look a little bit more comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Which is always a spot where when Trick looks comfortable, they can take anyone on for the day.
Tricked is the one thing that I really like about what Tricked is doing here today is that they look so much better in the matches that we've seen previously. I like that a lot. So Tricked definitely finally starting to show us a bit more of that spunk that we were asking for the entire time that they showed in part 1. But Fnatic with a good team fight can definitely still make this happen. Talking about a good team fight, they go for Alex, Leyline Seal, Apocalypse as Alex just got in, dodged by Grand Paquete, but here comes a 3-man Void Prison, and this is gonna hurt.
That
Down
hurt.
goes Malfurion, and Breeze just dashes in from the back line and slams the old geezer into the wall, cracks his skull open, and just rips him apart.
Okay, that was a bit morbid, but thank you, Caldor, for that colorful commentary. As we have the
He's a lot of terror, okay? It had to be terrifying.
He definitely destroyed him, that's for sure. And we also have Zeratul waiting for Tracer possibly to show herself in the bottom lane. They can take her out. One altar will be grabbed as the bell tower was picked up the top right.
Seriously, like when...
What?
Good kill.
Make was low on health and got a couple region globes and was able to take out Bad Vinny. Impressive.
Yeah, Crosby on the other hand is going to fall here now. Nice move, especially with Smexy moving in and dropping the Earthgrass totem there. That really slowed him down to an extent. We had no chance escaping. But I have to admit, there's very few things that are so fun or gratifying to see than when you have Diablo just from a long distance getting a good shadow charge into a wall that is close by to a target and then just
Speaking of,
crush the target with that one move. And yeah, when that happens, that's a lot of fun to watch.
Breeze almost getting that Skullcracker combo on top of the Tracer, putting her into the wall and getting her down to low health. She had to recall away, and she will survive thanks to it. Another engage by Diablo, as Breeze is starting to feel like he is the almighty terror.
Yeah. After level 16, Breeze is just like, okay, when the cooldown is up, boys, I'm going. Just so you know. Have the portal ready, because when the cooldown's up, I'm in.
Tracer, meet Wall. Wall, meet Tracer. Tracer, meet Death Screen. Very similar to what we saw at the Western Clash, but Make so far able to survive, but he has definitely taken some damage. And Fnatic, after it's all said and done, has started to take that lead again, 19 to 14 in favor of Fnatic, as we continue to go to the late game, pretty close in score.
And once again, Diablo at the front here. And the thing is just with the hit point pool, yeah, Tracer meet wall, wall meet Tracer.
Meet grenade.
Meet grenade, but Tracer's still alive at least for now. Well, maybe not for long though, because he's moving straight into another grenade if he's not paying attention. Apocalypse is already being used, and Breeze again is slamming them in the wall. And he just kills Muradin. He just kills everybody right now.
He's looking for another one. Alex the Prodigy, he's trying to wait for another Shadow Charge.
Breeze is currently playing ping pong with Tricky Esports. Down they go, and now Fnatic has an entire level lead again. It's actually starting to get brutal, and just to give you guys a bit of an idea, we have Breeze at this point being the top damage dealer for Fnatic with 42,000 damage, and he's also, together with Medivh, the guy who killed the most heroes.
And the other Dino Dog.
Yep.
That's a good Diablo. Breeze looking for another one, he throws back Grandpa Kit. There's another kill.
Yeah, but that was a Medivh kill steal. I mean, that was the last hit. That's not okay.
How dare you, Quack.
That's not cool, Quack.
Time to kick him off the team.
Second time that happened.
You can't take away from the pride and honor of a Diablo player. What are you doing?
Yeah, the Lord of Terror is not happy with you.
Exactly. Fnatic is starting to actually just crush in these fights, and Tricky Esports is starting to fall in the trap of staggering their deaths. They need to reset themselves. The issue with resetting is that Fnatic is looming for that level 20, taking their opponent's sappers, and looking to push in this bottom lane and take map control.
Yeah, and once again, wall, stun, dead.
Another one. They just keep coming.
Breeze after level 16 is just... this is one of those moments where like, okay boys, 16 games over. I got this now.
Next time, we need to pick a battleground with no walls. That's the answer here for Tricky Esports. Or Banner Diablo.
Yeah.
Well...
No, but I mean, again, like all jokes aside, I mean, this is kind of... It is pretty impressive as Breeze pulls off. Yeah, there's a reason why we call him the best Diablo in the world. But it's also that he currently really feels the responsibility that he needs to make plays. Because he's been talking about this quite a while now, that he feels this is a tank meta. All his tanks, all the tanks that he really loves to play, that he enjoys and that he feels strong at, are currently in the meta, and that's one of the reasons why he says, I need to make the plays. I need to be the one who really delivers right now. And he does exactly that. If those cleanses, those nature's cults there are not happening, then...
Crosby's dead.
Crosby's dead. And, I mean, Grandpa Kater has been doing whatever he could the entire time to make that work. And several times, that was the only reason why the target survived, or Breeze would have been even more oppressive in this game. And he is just delivering over and over again.
We're getting close to a spot where this game could be over. Sonya's working and taking the bell tower to the bottom left, but Tricky Esports will have to do their best to stop this ultra from being grabbed in this top left corner. They're going to go ahead and pop the Odin over the wall and try to siege down Minute and crew. They do so. Leyline Seal around the corner to lock down a target. Breeze moving in with the APOC. There it is. Here's a Riptire as well, waiting for that Malfurion Icebox to pop. Boom! There goes the damage. Grandpa Kid gets thrown into a VP, and Smexy will bring a heal.
Yeah, down goes Malfurion, 6 points on the core of Trick Esports, and that is a bad start for them, losing the hero here. Junkrat with the displacement, resetting the fight, and once again Breeze is starting to move in. Pushes him into the wall, and bam, that's another kill for the Lord of Terror. We're having 6 kills delivered by Breeze right now. He's just destroying. Tracer is falling as well, Sonya's getting picked off, and now with 2 altars on the map, Fnatic can take game number 2.
And they will. Smexy with the channel. Here comes the shots across the map into the core. Trick Esports goes down 0-2 as Fnatic gets another victory. Diablo delivering towards the end of that game. That level 16 coming online, showing just how strong you can be if you find those walls, and Diablo can get those engages.
Just to give you a couple of stats here. Diablo soaked 84,000 damage in this game. So we could see that actually throughout the entire game. There was massive push on trying to drop him. Sonya coming in with a spear, Tychus trying to burn him down, and everybody that ever played Diablo against Tychus knows how dangerous it really can be once that the Tychus goes in with the bigger they are and just keeps chunking you. Of course, there's also Medivh to account for, but there's a ton of damage that was really soaked by Breeze. And if you compare that to what happened on the other side, we had, I think, 53 or 51,000 on the side of Muradin. So a huge difference between the two there. And the damage output from Breeze, he was in the entire game the second highest damage dealer. The only one that outshone him was Tychus, and Tychus' damage, of course, to an extent inflated because
Minigun.
with the bigger they are and minigun, he just can go in and start to junk down Breeze's hit pool. But Breeze didn't die once in the entire game, and he was a main focus here. But even before he had his level 16, you could just see him dart into every single team fight, and then once he was in, there would be immediately a portal next to him. So that Breeze could start to pressure, he could start to push out, create space for the team around an altar so that they could start the channel, and then there would a portal be ready so that they can move back. So that was a really nice setup for them. And yeah, once he hit level 16 and he got the reset on the Shadow Charge, then he just absolutely delivered. On the last fight also, using Hellgate, blinking in, and then immediately getting the angle to get another kill in. He had 6 kills alone. The next highest
Kill was Medivh
Kill
there
count?
with 4. Yeah, quick kill count. Actual kills.
Kill-
Landing blows is what you're looking for here.
landing blows.
Yeah, they're
That
finishing the
sounds
final
so
health
lame.
bar. They get the final hit, and that's the kill there. That's where it comes from.
Okay.
Well,
I
a
would go for
total
killer.
of 6 kills coming in from Diablo, shutting down the Lord of Terror, has shown himself, and he is terrifying. We'll be right back with game number 3, and we'll see if he shows up again, or if Trick Esports will attempt to ban him out.